Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. This video may be a little bit late, but tonight, or right now obviously, we're going to be going over Raw from April 15th. April 15th, 2013 Raw. And again, I've taken quite a lot of notes this time, actually. The reason why this is late is because I actually missed pretty much all of Raw last night. I came in 15 or 20 minutes late because I was playing a game and I completely lost track of time. I came in about, like I said, 15-20 minutes late and only got to see the end of that hour of Raw because at 9 o'clock the premiere episode of Defiance came on and I did not want to miss that. And it lasted 2 hours. So, yeah. So I pretty much missed all of Raw. I just rewatched it, finally, and took some notes. So, here's how Raw went. The show started with a recap of last week's Raw. It showed Ziggler cashing in, winning the title. They went over that. They went over the Shield trying to attack The Undertaker and Kane and Daniel Bryan making the save for him. They went over, a lot of the stuff that happened last week on Raw. After that, the show actually begins with a rematch, the first of probably about 3 that happened on the night. This is a rematch from SmackDown. As you remember from the SmackDown video, we had Orton and Sheamus go against the Big Show, 2-on-1 handicap match. Now, as you'll remember from the SmackDown video, Orton and Sheamus won that match on SmackDown. They won by countout because Big Show got kicked out of the ring and he decided to just leave. However, on Raw, he actually stayed and fought, and Orton and Sheamus actually won legit. Orton had hit the ropes to run at Show, but Show caught him, was going to go for the choke slam. And Randy was the legal guy. Sheamus jumps into the ring, Brogue kicks Show, knocks him off balance. He rebounds back after kind of hitting the ropes. He rebounds back, Randy hits an RKO, and gets the win. After that, we had a recap of 3MB on SmackDown. I don't know if I mentioned this on the SmackDown vid, but Triple H came out on SmackDown to talk about Brock and yada yada. He got interrupted by the 3-man band, Heath Slater's dumbass, Jinder Mahal, and Drew McIntyre. They were going to attack Triple H. But before they could, the Shield decided to come out. And the Shield decided to... at first, it looked like they were going to beat the hell out of Triple H 6-on-1. But nope. The Shield attacks the 3-man band, taking them out. Because apparently, they wanted Triple H all to themselves. And just as they were going to attack Triple H... Again, just as last week on Raw, Kane and Daniel Bryan came out for the save. Chased the Shield off. But this week, we got a recap of that. And after that, backstage, we have a short interview with the 3-man band. They were backstage with Matt Stryker, I believe. And they basically said they were going to go out to the ring and call out the Shield. And that's exactly what happens next. They go out to the ring and they call out the Shield. Shield couldn't give a fuck. No fucks were given. Shield doesn't come out, and instead, Brock Lesnar comes out and beats the holy hell out of all three guys in the three-man band, including taking Slater out of the ring, picking him up and F5ing him, dropping him knees first on the barricade. Twice he did this. Twice. And it was at that point that Heyman comes running out and he tells Brock, "Stop, you've done enough," you know. So Brock and Heyman get in the ring, and Heyman cuts a promo on Triple H, basically saying that, you know what, I respect what you were able to do at Mania, because Triple H actually knocked Brock out about 10 minutes into the match, something like that. And not only that, he was able to win, so, yeah. They talk about that, and then Heyman basically says, but you know what, even though you beat Brock at WrestleMania, it doesn't really matter because they're now both tied. It's 1-1. Triple H has won a match, and Brock has won a match, so they're tied. We need a buffer match, a rubber match. And so they challenge Triple H to a steel cage match. And after all the hyping that Heyman did, he said it's time to get barbaric, it's time to get extreme, he said all these other things. After all the hyping, and you say, oh, we're going to do a steel cage match. You know what? Steel cage matches are actually relatively tame compared to a lot of the other different match types that they can do in the WWE. So, after all that hype, going for a cage match was really kind of lame. But whatever. They challenged Triple H to a cage match. End of that segment. Next segment is, after Kofi was able to beat Cesaro on SmackDown in a non-title match, they decide, okay, we're going to do this match again. This is the second rematch from SmackDown. They decided after Kofi was able to win on SmackDown, we're actually going to give him a shot at the U.S. title. So that's what happens. Kofi gets a shot at Cesaro's U.S. title, and he actually wins. Kofi does. New U.S. champion. He celebrates after the match. Matthews comes up to him in the ring and he says, "What do you have to say for yourself?" And Kofi says, "All I have to say for myself is I finally brought the U.S. title back home." And all I can think is, you brought the U.S. title back home to West Africa? It's the United States title, Kofi, not the West Africa title. Who cares? We move on to the next segment, which is them recapping Ziggler cashing in from last week. Whatever. That's basically just a segue to lead into Ziggler coming out to cut a promo. He starts saying, you know, I'm the show-off, I'm better than everybody, you know. His promo is interrupted by Del Rio coming out to say that, as the former champion, I have a rematch clause. I get a rematch. And he says he wants to cash that rematch in now, even though he's still banged up, which baffles me. Del Rio, you're still hurt. Even at 100%, you probably couldn't beat Ziggler. With your leg hurt, you don't stand any chance. So Del Rio interrupted Ziggler's promo. After that, Vicky Guerrero interrupts the both of them and says, yeah, we're going to go ahead and have this match. But before the match can actually start, they were getting ready to start the match. They got a referee out and everything. Before they could start the match, Swagger comes out with Zeb Coulter. And Coulter's talking, saying, Ziggler, you don't even deserve the title. And Del Rio, you don't deserve another shot at it. And I'm thinking, Swagger came up short twice. Why does he deserve another shot at it? He couldn't beat Del Rio at WrestleMania. He couldn't beat Del Rio the next night in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Why does Swagger even deserve another shot? Why did Swagger even get a shot in the first place? He got lucky winning that Elimination Chamber match to become the number one contender in the first place. He got lucky. So whatever. The match is about to start when Big E decides to jump into the ring and stand up to Del Rio. And Del Rio's all for it. He's like, okay, you want some? I'll give you some. But before that can go anywhere, Swagger trips Del Rio, pulls him over to the ring post, and he doesn't crotch him, but he pulls him up to the crotch and wraps his leg around the post. You know, like they do. They wrap it, they throw the leg around the post, and it's supposed to hurt the leg. He does this 2 or 3 times, and then he pulls Del Rio out of the ring and clotheslines him, knocks him down, and then he locks in the ankle lock, or the Patriot lock. So yeah, that match never got started. After that, another rematch from SmackDown. The Primetime Players versus Team Hell No again. And just like SmackDown, Team Hell No wins fairly easily. Yeah, you'll note that that was only the third match of the night. There was a whole lot of promos, a whole lot of recapping, and not very much actual wrestling. But anyways, after the Primetime Players and Hell No, this next part actually surprised me. They show a promo of Ryback. This was not him in the ring. This was a pre-recorded promo that they showed on the Titantron. Ryback's cutting this promo, and I actually liked this promo a lot because Ryback made a lot of good points, and he didn't make anything up, which is something that they kind of have heels do a lot. They make up stuff, they lie about shit. No, Ryback told the truth, and he brought up a lot of valid points. But I also want to comment on the way this promo was shot. Ryback is standing in this dark room, and there's one little light, and it's only like lighting up half of his face. So the other half is all dark, and you know, I don't know, I just kind of liked the way they had that lit and the way they shot that. But that's the way it is the whole promo. But Ryback goes over and he says, you know what, Cena? You actually did try to take me under your wing and be nice and stuff, but it was basically you just keeping me in your shadow. And he also brought up the fact that there were several times when Ryback was getting his ass kicked, by the Shield, namely, and Cena was nowhere to be found to help him out. Several times this happened. Ryback gets his ass kicked. Cena doesn't help. But there were also several times where Cena was getting his ass kicked, and Ryback came out for the save. So, you know, there goes all that loyalty that Cena supposedly stands for. If you're so good friends with Ryback, where were you when he needed you? He brings up a good point. And they also used, with this promo, they also used clips from these events actually happening. You know. This promo was actually pretty good, and it worked. And I really appreciate how they did it. So, after the promo, I believe there was a commercial break, and then we come back, and R-Truth is already in the ring. And he's going against Wade Barrett. I think this was also another rematch from SmackDown. I'm not sure. But, either way, the match actually wasn't so bad. The finish was Barrett was going to go for a pump handle something or other. He had Truth set up for the pump handle. He lifts him up, and Truth slips down the back. And as Barrett turns around, Truth grabs him and nails him with his finish. I don't know what the hell he calls it. Big leaping... It's basically like the mic check. Only he just jumps up and grabs him and just slams him down. But anyways, he hits his finish and he actually beats Barrett. So, I really just don't understand the logic here. You have Barrett lose the Intercontinental title to The Miz in the pre-show of WrestleMania. And then the next night on Raw, you have Barrett win the damn belt back. And then the next week on Raw, you have Barrett lose to Truth, who's still very much a joke character at this point. We haven't hardly seen much of him the last couple of weeks. Whatever. But anyways, they go backstage, and Bricky, as they're being called, which is Brad Maddox and Vicky Guerrero. And as you'll remember, Vicky's the managing supervisor of Raw. Brad Maddox is now her assistant. So they've been having little powwows here and there and all this other shit. They're backstage with Teddy Long, who is Booker T's assistant, essentially, on SmackDown. And Teddy basically says, you know what, after what happened earlier with Del Rio, Swagger, and Ziggler, I've got this all set up for Ziggler to have a match with Swagger tonight, since Del Rio is in no shape to compete after getting his ass kicked. Blah, blah, blah. Vicky and Brad say, yeah, we like it, it's cool. But then they ask Teddy, does Booker T know about this? And Teddy goes, I don't know. It seems like they really want to try and push Teddy turning heel. I don't know why. I don't understand this. He's not even like a wrestler, so why does it even matter? Anyways, I think we come back from another commercial break, and Khali is coming out, the great Khali. And I can hear the ring announcer say, oh, this is a tag team match. And already I just start to facepalm. I'm like, okay, great, who's his partner? Santino's music hits. Oh, great, 2 joke characters teaming up. Great. I'm like, okay, great, who are they going against? And the Rhodes Scholars come out. Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow. They cut a short promo on the way to the ring. I don't really remember what all they said. Doesn't matter. The Rhodes Scholars actually win because of some crap on the outside. The way it finished was Rhodes was on the outside of the ring, and Santino was in the ring getting ready to give the Cobra to Sandow. But apparently Santino had thrown a spare Cobra sock thing to Hornswoggle. And Hornswoggle had put it on, and he tries to give Rhodes the Cobra on the outside, but he just pokes him in the stomach. And Rhodes, like, what the hell was that? It does nothing. But I think Santino was distracted. He gets rolled up by Sandow and gets pinned. Whoop-de-doo. Santino and Khali. Really? Are we going to try and push them as a new tag team? Because I really don't want to see any more of that crap. I really don't. Anyways. The next little segment, we've got Jerry Lawler in the ring. And he starts talking about this new craze, fandangoing, which has been sweeping the nation, if you haven't heard. Bunch of cheerleaders have done it. PETA did it. It's just people dancing to Fandango's music and humming the music. Yeah. But he's talking all about this. They show this video package of all the people who've been doing it, yada yada. They come back from that, and Lawler introduces Fandango. And Johnny comes out with his little dancer chick, and he gets in the ring. Lawler gets back in the ring, and Lawler's trying to interview him, and he says he pronounces Fandango's name wrong, which is weird because Lawler's actually been fairly good about pronouncing it. He's actually been behind Fandango for the most part for several weeks now. Don't know where they're going with this, but whatever. He's trying to interview him, and Johnny grabs the mic from him and says, "How are your hips, Jerry?" I don't know why, but he's like, "Can you move your hips, Jerry?" And Jerry's just like, "I think I'm going to move my hips back over to the announce desk." And I'm like, "Yeah, you probably should." From there, Johnny just proceeds to cut a little promo. He starts like almost cutting like a face promo where he's playing to the crowd like, "Do you people want a fandango with me? Do you people over here?" He starts going from side to side, the front, the back, and he's like, "Okay." But then it goes back to heel, and he says, "Before you can fandango with me, I need you to pronounce my name correctly." He starts going through it, and he says, "No, you're still not pronouncing it right, so you people can go fandango yourself." So he basically just told the people to go fuck themselves. I'm loving this. Johnny is so damn good. I don't know why they're wasting him with this. I really don't get this gimmick. Like, I thought his gimmick before was fine, where he was this creepy motherfucker walking around backstage in his leather jacket and no shirt, you know. But whatever. Maxine bailed, so I guess they had to come up with something different, because they couldn't keep doing that same thing with Johnny. I guess, but whatever. So that ended. We go backstage with Matt Striker. He introduces Cena. Cena cuts a short promo where he basically says, "You know, I saw Ryback's promo from earlier, and it was a lot of talking. I'm going to come out to the ring later on, and I'm going to call out Ryback." Okay, fine. We move on to the next match, which is Swagger and Ziggler, which was announced earlier. Fairly good match. These two can both work, so of course they put on a good match. The end of the match is kind of shite. Ziggler gets thrown, like, throat first into the ropes and gets staggered, basically. And Swagger rolls him up and gets the 3 count. So they job out our new World Heavyweight Champion to Swagger because he gets throated on the ropes. Again, I don't get the logic here. But as Swagger is backing up the ramp and getting ready to, go through the curtain and leave, Del Rio comes out from out of nowhere and attacks Swagger. He throws him headfirst into the big WWE logo thing that's on the stage. He slams him headfirst into that. He starts beating the hell out of him. And then he locks on the cross arm breaker while Swagger is off the stage. Like, I think they've done this a couple of times. Swagger's like standing on the floor below the stage, but his arm is going up onto the stage, and Del Rio's got him in the cross arm breaker from on top of the stage, and he's like really torquing on it. Like, that's supposed to be the thing with it. He's like really torquing on it, and it's supposed to hurt like a motherfucker, Referees and stuff come out, they break it up, yada yada, we move on. Backstage again with Striker. Sheamus starts to cut a promo, but before he can really get a few words in, Mark Henry comes from out of nowhere, just as he did on SmackDown, if I remember correctly. Henry comes out of nowhere and just puts Sheamus through the set, the little backstage set that they have for the interviews. They're really trying to push this feud between Mark Henry and Sheamus, and I don't know why. Twice now, Henry has attacked Sheamus for no reason. No apparent reason, at least. They cut back to the commentators, and I think it was Michael Cole goes, "Why is Henry doing this?" And JBL's like, "I don't know." Like, the commentators should probably know what's up, right? Don't you think? I don't know, maybe not always. It just seemed really weird. This whole thing is just out of place. Like, why does Henry give a fuck about Sheamus? You know? I mean, I don't know if I should bring this up right now, maybe later, but Henry beat Ryback at WrestleMania. So Henry obviously won that feud. It's pretty much over. I'm guessing they just decided to end it because nobody gave a shit. But if Henry won, shouldn't he be the one that benefits from this? It looks like Henry's moving on to a worthless feud against Sheamus for no reason, whereas Ryback is looking to move on to a feud with Cena for the WWE title. Ryback lost, though. Crushingly, I might add. So why does Ryback get to benefit from this? I don't know. Whatever. After Henry attacks Sheamus, we go back to the ring and Punk comes out. As Heyman said last week, he was going to let Punk tell us how he felt after Mania. Punk starts to cut a promo, and I had to write this down because it was so stupid. JBL says, "There's no shame in losing to The Undertaker." Yeah, there is. Undertaker's like 50-something. He's old and busted. He can't hardly move. And he can't hardly wrestle anymore. Punk is half his age and twice as fast. Yeah, there's no shame in losing to that. Whatever. So Punk starts cutting this promo, and he's talking about, you know, after winning the WWE title and holding it for 433 days, I think was the actual count. You know, he started wondering, like, what can I do next? What's the next challenge? Because he says that he was always like that. He always wants more. He always wanted to be better, to be bigger. He wanted the next challenge to prove himself. And that next challenge was The Rock, in which he failed at that challenge. And then after that, he was like, well, what's my next challenge? Well, the streak. The Undertaker's undefeated WrestleMania streak. And that's why he wanted to go after The Undertaker. Because there's nothing bigger than holding that WWE title. There's nothing bigger than that, than, you know, ending the streak. But he's cutting this promo, and it's like the crowd starts chanting. It's like a dueling chant. They're going, Undertaker, CM Punk. And they're going back and forth. And Punk kind of looks like he gets choked up. And then he just walks out. He hugs Heyman, and he says, I can't do this. And he just walks out. He hands Heyman the mic, and he just walks away. So it either looks like Punk's retiring, which I doubt, or either that, he's just going to take some time off, because apparently he needs some time off to rest up from some injuries. He banged himself up during the match with The Undertaker, so he probably needs to rehab an injury or two, and he needs a vacation. So he's going to go away for a while. After that, we get Teddy Long and Booker T backstage, talking. And Booker's basically saying, you're stepping over your boundaries, Teddy, setting all this shit up. And Teddy's basically trying to say, but I know what you're thinking. And then Booker says, no, you don't know what I'm thinking. And they talk about, oh, well, Swagger's obviously the number one contender since he beat Ziggler and blah, blah, blah. And Book says, whatever. Swagger's going to get his rematch, or his title shot. And Del Rio's going to get his rematch. It's going to be a triple threat match. I don't know if they announced this for SmackDown or for the next pay-per-view. I'm not sure. Probably the next pay-per-view. Whatever. The next thing, we come back from another commercial, and Caitlyn, our Divas champion, is already in the ring. She gets a jobber entrance. The only reason I can come up with is probably because they realize everybody hates Kaitlyn's new music. It's terrible, by the way. Her old music wasn't that great, but it was at least better than this new crap that they gave her. I really don't know why they have to give her such crap music, but whatever. But Kaitlyn's already in the ring, ready to go. Out come the Bellas. And the ring announcer says, it's Nikki Bella that's going to be wrestling Kaitlyn. The match goes on for a while, and Kaitlyn, it looks like Kaitlyn's pretty much got it won, when the ref has to pull Kaitlyn off of the Bella, and the ref has to pull Kaitlyn off of the Bella, and then the Bellas use their little twin magic to switch. Bree jumps in the ring, and Nikki rolls out. And Bree is able to beat Kaitlyn with like a roll-up, I think, or something like that. So again, our Divas champion jobs for no reason. Shouldn't they have used this to keep the feud between the Bellas and the Funkadactyls going? Why would we job out our Divas champion to somebody who doesn't even seem all that concerned with the Divas title at the moment? Don't really get that. But anyways, after that, we get more recapping. Like I said, there's a lot of recapping during this show. I don't really remember exactly what they were recapping. It doesn't matter with shit we've already seen before, so it really doesn't matter. Cena comes out to confront Ryback. So, he comes out. He calls out Ryback. Ryback comes out. And Cena starts to cut a promo. And I noticed this. I don't know if this was supposed to happen, but there's this weird camera angle that shows the three members of the Shield in the breezeway or whatever it's called. Because the Shield always comes out from the crowd. They have to come in through one of the breezeways that the fans normally come in through. So they come out through that. But this camera angle shows the three of them in the entrance to the breezeway there, getting ready. I don't know if they were supposed to show that or not, but it kind of ruins the surprise of what happens. But anyways, there's that. Cena starts cutting this boring promo, talking shit, whatever. And then I happen to notice that very quietly the commentators kind of mention the weird camera angle that revealed the Shield. I think it was Lawler goes, he says it really quietly. He says, "Did you guys see that?" And then one of the other guys goes, "Yeah, I know. Just shut up." So even they kind of acknowledge that they fucked up. Anyway, Cena's still cutting this boring-ass promo. And then he says, "You know what, Ryback? If you want a shot at this belt, let's see you fight me straight up. Because last week you kind of attacked me without warning, and I wasn't ready for it. Well, this week I'm going to be ready for you. I want a match, or not a match, but I want to fight right now. Let's see if you got what it takes to win a title." So he takes off his dog tags, his shirt, his hat, all his dumb little shit, and he gets ready to fight. After them staring at each other for a minute, Ryback backs down, like a bitch. After them building Ryback up as this, like, unstoppable beast, this is really puzzling to me. Why would they have him back down like this? Well, because, as Ryback is leaving, the Shield music hits. And no one is really surprised because, you know, the reveal, the mistake reveal earlier. But the Shield comes out. And they hop the barricade like they always do. And they're, like, really hesitant, obviously, because they're, like, trying to see Like, are we going to have to take both of these guys on or what? But they're waiting to see. Ryback, like he was getting ready to leave, but then the Shield music hits and he turns around and he's like, yeah. But Ryback is just kind of standing there. And so the Shield just decides, fuck it, let's just attack Cena. They jump in the ring, they start beating his ass. Ryback doesn't do shit. And this actually ties in with the promo of his from earlier. Like I said, he brought up several times that he bailed Cena out when he was getting his ass kicked. But there were also several times that Ryback was getting his ass kicked and Cena was nowhere to be found. So this is revenge, basically. Ryback stands there and does nothing. He just stands there and watches as the Shield beat the fuck out of Cena. They beat him down, punching and kicking and stomping and all kinds of stuff. And then Ryback walks up to the stage to basically show that he's not going to do anything. And this is when the Shield picks up Cena for their big tag team finisher that they've been using for a while now. Ambrose and Rollins picks Cena up from behind, and they lift him up and put him on Reigns' shoulders, and they give him this big triple power bomb. They power bomb the fuck out of Cena. And the only other note that I have is the crowd starts chanting, "One more time! One more time!" They want the Shield to keep beating the hell out of Cena. Powerbomb him again. They don't, though. But that's where the match, or that's where the show ends. That was it. Show goes off the air, Cena lying flat on his back, with the Shield standing over him, and Ryback on the stage, not doing shit to help. So, that wraps up Raw. Now, we'll leave with a couple of minor notes. They did announce a couple of matches, one of which is for SmackDown, and that is going to be Orton and Sheamus versus Big Show. Not a handicap match this time. Orton and Sheamus versus Big Show and Mark Henry. So finally we have a tag team match going on here. But yeah, so we've got that. And also announced for next week's Raw, I believe, is supposed to be a big six-man tag match, all three members of the Shield, versus Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Kane, and The Undertaker. After the Shield trying to attack The Undertaker last week on Raw, they figured, okay, we'll announce this big six-man match. It's going to be hilarious because Undertaker's probably not going to get involved in this match hardly at all. He's so old and busted. Really doubt he's going to do much. It's going to be Daniel Bryan and Kane doing the heavy lifting, getting their asses kicked, bumping and selling for the Shield. And I'm almost positive that the Shield is going to win again. Because as I said before, they're still undefeated in actual matches up to this point. So, really don't see them losing. Yeah, they apparently announced the triple threat for the world title. Ziggler, Del Rio, and Swagger. I don't know when that's supposed to be. Probably the next pay-per-view. But, other than that, there's not really a whole lot to comment on from Raw. Show was not all that good. Definitely nowhere near as good as last week's Raw. But then again, what the hell possibly could be? But, show wasn't all that good. I'm kind of glad that I actually watched Defiance instead. That show was actually a lot better. But yeah, Raw wasn't all that good. A lot of pointless jobbing. They made Cesaro look bad, losing his U.S. title to Kofi Kingston. Now, the only good thing about this is they could... well, of course, they're going to have a rematch because Cesaro gets his rematch, being the former champion. If they have Cesaro lose again, which something tells me they will, this could mean a good thing for Cesaro, is that he could possibly be moving up the card. They're like, okay, you've proven yourself in the mid-card, let's move you up to upper card, or possibly main event. Cesaro's definitely good enough. The only thing I don't like is lately they've been having him yodel. It sounds terrible. Even a good yodeler sounds bad. So, and Cesaro honestly isn't all that good at it. He's a good wrestler, not a very good yodeler. Honestly, it fits his very European gimmick, but it's still lame. Whatever, though. So he jobs for nothing. Wade Barrett, our freaking Intercontinental Champion, and even though I hate Wade Barrett, why have him job to R-Truth, unless this is setting up Truth to get an IC title shot, which I don't know why. Shouldn't The Miz get a rematch, since, he was technically champion, even if only for a day? Miz should have a rematch. Whatever. So, I guess they're setting up Truth for an IC title reign, or at least a feud with Barrett. Don't know why. Caitlyn jobs to one of the Bellas. Again, don't know why. Let's have our Divas champ, our very strong Divas champ, lose to one of the Bellas who doesn't even give a shit about the title at the time, because they're supposed to be feuding with the Funkadactyls. Fortunately, we didn't have to see the Funkadactyls, or Brodus Clay, or Tensai, and which, by the way, I've finally found out what Tensai's stupid hip-hop name is. They call him Sweet Tea. Yeah. Whatever. We didn't see any of them tonight, thank God. Not that it helped the show or anything, but, we got stuck with Kali and Santino instead, which is probably worse. But anyways, yeah, Raw was not all that good. Pointless jobbing. Cesaro loses the title to Kofi for, no reason. And there was also, no build-up to this. It's not like they've been feuding or anything. I don't think they have. The match on SmackDown was probably, the first time they wrestled. But whatever. No build. No reason for this. Don't understand why. But whatever. Yeah, like I said, Raw wasn't all that good. Definitely not as good as last week. And, so yeah, that's it for Raw. Again, sorry I didn't get this up last night. I'm sure it doesn't really matter all that much. But, yeah, I'm glad I watched Defiance instead. This Raw, it's like the one night after WrestleMania, they hit it out of the freaking ballpark with a great show. And then, next week, back to the lameness. They're still making Ziggler look like shit. They're still doing all this other crap. It's really just bad. So, I don't know. But that's it for Raw. I'll see you guys next time on the Wrestling Rant. See you next time.